Good morning, students. Now I'm going to continue with the explanation of the lesson, The Best Christmas Present in the World. So, we have read that the author purchased an old roll top desk and found a letter in it. He started reading it. Dearest Connie, I write to you in a much happier frame of mind because something wonderful had just happened that I must tell you about at once. So, student, this letter is written by Mr. Jim McPherson and he's writing to his wife Connie. He is in a very happier frame of mind and he wants to explain or narrate an incident which had just happened. What was it? We were all standing to in our trenches yesterday morning. Trenches means the long deep ditches which are dug by the soldiers to hide themselves. So the British army and the German army soldiers, they were in their trenches. It was crisp and quiet all about, as beautiful a morning as I have ever seen, as cold and frosty as a Christmas morning should be. So it was Christmas morning, the weather was pleasant. I should like to be able to tell you that we began it. But the truth, I am ashamed to say, is that Fritz began it. Here, the Mr. Jim McPherson writes that he wished that he would have started it. But what is the reality? The reality is that Fritz means it is a name used for German soldier, that a German soldier began it. First, someone saw a white flag waving from the trenches opposite. Then they were calling out to us from across no man's land. So, what were German soldiers doing? They were calling out, they were shouting, they were calling them from across no man's land. What is no man's land? It is an area between the boundaries of two countries, between the borders of two countries, which is not in either control. Happy Christmas, Tommy, happy Christmas. When we had got over the surprise, some of us shouted back. So, students, the English soldiers also responded back when they understood the situation, when they got the sense that German soldiers were trying to wish Happy Christmas to them, they responded. Same to you, Fritz, same to you. I thought that would be that. We all did. But then suddenly, one of them was up there in his grey greatcoat and waving a white flag. Don't shoot, lads, someone shouted, and no one did. So, one person, there was a man who told them that we are here in a celebratory mood, and he instructed others not to shoot. Then there was another frisk up on the parapet and another. What is parapet? It is a wall which is used for the protection, okay, a protective wall. Keep your heads down, I told the men. It's a trick, but it wasn't. So Jim McPherson thought that the Fritz, the German soldiers, they were playing trick, but it was not the case. Actually, they were trying to celebrate Christmas with the British army. One of the Germans was waving a bottle above his head. It is Christmas Day, Tommy. We have schnapps, we have sausage, we meet you, yes? What is schnapps? Schnapps is a German drink made from grain. And what is sausage? Sausage is basically a non-veg dish. It is made up of meat and the meat is tossed in spices. By this time, there were dozens of them walking towards us across no man's land and not a rifle between them. Little Private Morris was the first up. So Morris was the first man who invited them. Come on, boys, what are we waiting for? And then there was no stopping them. I was the officer. I should have stopped them there and then. So Jim McPherson was the officer, I suppose, but the truth is that it never even occurred to me I should. He did not feel that he should stop them, okay? All along their line and hours, I could see men walking slowly towards one another, grey coats, khaki coats, meeting in the middle. So now, students, you can imagine the scene. the British soldiers and the German soldiers, they are walking towards one another and they are happy. They are trying to make peace with one another. You cannot imagine, dearest Coney. Jim McPherson told Coney that she could not imagine my feelings as I looked into the eyes of the Frizz officer who approached me. Hand outstretched means he wanted a handshake. Hans Wolf, he said, gripping my hand warmly and holding it. I am from Düsseldorf. I play the cello in the orchestra. Happy Christmas. So, students, who was Hans Wolf? He was the Frizz officer, means he was a German officer. He shook hands with Jim McPherson, who was British officer. Hans Wolf told Jim McPherson that he was from Düsseldorf and he played the cello in the orchestra. What is cello? It is a musical instrument. Okay, you can see cello in the picture. And what is orchestra? It is a group of musicians who play different instruments together. So Hans Wolf told what he used to do before the war had begun. Which war? World War First. Students, if you have any doubt in the part of the lesson which I explained today, you can ask me personally. Thank you.